Continental Tire Coach's Corner. We bring in the Sixers head coach, Brett Brown, as they pick up the victory last night. They put aside the Brooklyn Nets. How do you feel today, Coach?
I mean, it's always a relief to get through a series. Sort of getting ready to pay more attention now to Toronto, but it's always a good day to wake up after you've closed out a series.
What happens when you go home after a game like that? Like, are you up all night?
You're up for sure. It's not anything you get out of your car, and it was a late game last night. It was an 8 o'clock game, so you're really not home till midnight. And, you stay up and watch a little bit of the game, look at Toronto a little bit. But for me, it's never a situation where you're able to go to sleep quickly.
Did you see the Lillard shot that closed out Oklahoma City?
Incredible.
Do you coach that? Is that, like, strategy-wise, what do you think Terry Stotts said?
It reminded me of Jimmy Butler. For us, had two game winners, and it's funny. It was the same sort of vicinity. Damian's was probably 2, maybe 3 feet further out. But if you pay attention to their footwork, it's sort of a side dribble to your right. He plants his right foot, which a lot of times for right-handed shooters, they'll play off their dominant pivot foot, their left foot. And so, like, I put my coaching hat on, and I'm looking at, just the technique of how he got his shot off. The breathtaking thing for all of us is the distance that he shot it from, but the technique that he got his shot off, you can see why, arguably maybe the league's best defensive player in Paul George was caught off guard, but that's a heck of a way to close out a series.
But, Coach, I'm not sure in today's NBA of what is allowable, that you just, it's sort of common. If I said 20 years ago, guys are going to be taking 37-footers, you'd say maybe desperation heave, or they wouldn't be out there very long. Now, all of a sudden, how much strategy goes into how deep these guys are shooting threes or defending how deep they're shooting?
There's a lot of strategy. That is an outlier, what you saw. But, for instance, if you were to game plan against the Golden State Warriors, I call it a pickup point. What's the pickup point of the ball?
Yeah.
And really, historically, to your point, the large majority of the league, your pickup points are probably the three-point line, maybe a step out. But when you start getting into, like, James Harden stuff and Steph Curry stuff, Damian Lillard stuff, your pickup points change. You really, as you cross half court, you have to be aware. We just got done a series with Brooklyn, and people like D'Angelo Russell, as an example, you better be on high alert the second the ball passes half court. The league is clearly changing. The three-point shot has become king, and to your point, the distance of which some of these players can shoot it is part and parcel now of our game.
He's Brett Brown, the 76ers head coach, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. You came into the postseason with only 10 games with this starting unit of Embiid, Simmons, Butler, Harris, and Redick. So you're still getting to know this team, and they're getting to know one another. How difficult has that been?
It's difficult only in the sense that and you feel it completely from where I sit, like the subtle nuances that players who have a history with each other or, a full, season, you can see the subtleties of familiarity. And for me, on the fly as the coach, to be able to say, something, a word, a phrase, or reference something out of context, you don't have that backdrop. You don't have that background. And I think that because that group that you just spoke of is talented, you can cover some stuff, but I'm always mindful and to a point fearful of, when it really matters, when it gets down to, crunch time, you're not going to have the context. And so my belief, and I've said it publicly and I'll say it to you, when we came into the playoffs was how do you just land the plane, keep the spirit, keep the health, grow their form, and buy time. And this is what we have been able to do with Joel's health and getting some wins and getting through Brooklyn. Now we have a Toronto series. and it's a very unusual sort of accumulation of history or lack thereof that we do have with the group. But as I said, we got some talent now. We just try to move the ship forward and buy some time and keep trying to find ways to win.
Got a little chippy in the series. Your guys certainly like to talk. Embiid certainly likes to. Do you embrace that attitude?
It's not my style. I think the spirit of Joel, as an example, is he takes it right to the line. I don't feel like he crosses the line. I think at some point, it's who he is. It's how he plays. It's how he gets himself motivated. And it's true, he is young. And we got a bunch of young guys on our team, but it's something that, you're always trying to respect the game. You're always trying to keep poise at the forefront and try to help grow these young players. And at times, there's a spirit about them. A lot of great players we've all seen. There's a maverick in many of them, and how that is displayed comes out in different ways. But to Joel's situation, to reference Joel, I think he just plays with a tremendous spirit and personality, and that's kind of who he is.
I don't know if you knew this, but it was probably 6 weeks ago that Reggie Miller said that he would love for Ben Simmons to reach out to him and that he would help him in the offseason learn to shoot threes. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I did not know that. I mean, I speak to Reggie often because we bump into each other lately with the TV situations, with pregame interviews. He's an incredible shooter for sure, and I think the Ben Simmons shot. If you look at his free throw, let's just start maybe a little bit closer. I believe it's improving. I see him put in time. Over time, and we've seen it with Giannis, like the three-point shot, as we spoke about earlier, it's such a dominant part of our sport nowadays. And like Giannis, if Ben can get that, and I believe he will, I think everybody forgets Danny's 22 years old, and it's really under the microscope at times, maybe a little bit more than I think it should be. But when he can grow that part of his game, he really does become borderline unguardable.
Have fun in the next series. Play nice, and congratulations, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dan.
That's Brett Brown, 76ers head coach, choosing his words carefully with Ben Simmons and his jump shot. Continental Tire Coach's Corner. Continental Tire, proud to be the exclusive tire of the Dan Patrick Show. No matter where you drive, what you drive, or how you drive, Continental designs tires for what you do.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.